The story of the unloved woman is one of profound complexity, a tapestry woven with threads of pain, longing, and a yearning to be seen. Yet, beneath these threads lies a deeper truth, one that speaks to God's unwavering presence in her life, even when it feels as though the world has turned its back on her. To the unloved woman, the silence of others can feel deafening. The absence of affection can feel like a void too vast to fill. But what if I told you that in this very silence, in this very void, God is speaking the loudest? What if I told you that her struggles are not a punishment but a preparation for something greater? To understand this, we must first explore what it means to be unloved. To be unloved is not simply to be without affection, it is to feel unseen, unheard, and unvalued. It is to question one's worth in the absence of affirmation from others. And yet, in the economy of God, our worth is not determined by human validation. God sees beyond the surface. He looks into the heart, the soul, the very essence of who we are. While the world may overlook, God always notices. While others may walk away, God remains steadfast. His love is not contingent on what we do or how others perceive us. It is a love that exists simply because we are His. The struggles of the unloved woman are not foreign to Scripture. Consider the story of Leah, the unloved wife of Jacob. Leah lived in the shadow of her sister, Rachel, adored by her husband, while Leah was merely tolerated. Yet, even in her pain, God was present. The Bible tells us that when the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, He opened her womb, giving her the gift of motherhood. This was not just a physical blessing, but a profound reminder that God sees and responds to the cries of the heart. Leah's struggle became the soil in which God planted seeds of purpose, seeds that would ultimately grow into the lineage of the Messiah Himself. This tells us something critical about the nature of God. He does not waste pain. He does not allow struggle without intention. For the unloved woman, every tear, every moment of loneliness, and every cry into the void is known to Him. He is not distant or indifferent. He is intimately aware of her journey, and in ways often unseen, He is orchestrating a plan that uses her struggles as a canvas for His glory. But let us be honest, knowing that God has a plan does not always make the struggle easier. It does not immediately fill the void or quiet the ache of the heart. This is where faith becomes essential. Faith is not about ignoring pain, it is about trusting that pain has a purpose. It is about believing that God's plans are far greater than our understanding, that He is working behind the scenes in ways that will one day make sense. Imagine a potter at work, shaping a lump of clay. The clay does not understand the hands that press and mold it, the tools that carve and refine it. If the clay could feel, it might interpret the process as harsh, even cruel. But the potter knows what he is creating. He knows that the pressure, the shaping, and even the moments in the fire are necessary to create something beautiful, something that fulfills its intended purpose. In much the same way, God is shaping the unloved woman. Her struggles are the hands of the potter, not to harm her but to refine her into the masterpiece she was always meant to be. It is also important to understand that the pain of being unloved often comes with a gift empathy. Those who have walked through the valley of loneliness often emerge with a deeper capacity to understand the pain of others. This is not a coincidence but a calling. The unloved woman, through her struggles, becomes uniquely equipped to be a vessel of God's love to those who feel similarly unseen. Her journey transforms her into a beacon of hope, a living testimony of God's ability to bring beauty from ashes. Take a moment to consider what this means. It means that her pain is not the end of her story, it is merely a chapter in a narrative that God is still writing. It means that her struggles are not a mark of failure or unworthiness, but a part of God's greater divine plan. It means that the very things that make her feel small and forgotten are the things God will use to show His greatness and love. But how do we reconcile this with the reality of the present? How does the unloved woman find hope when the weight of loneliness feels unbearable? The answer lies in shifting her focus from what is missing to what is already present. While human love may falter, God's love is steadfast. While human affection may be conditional, God's affection is unwavering. His love is not something to be earned or achieved, it is a gift freely given, a constant presence that can fill even the deepest voids. In the quiet moments when the world feels empty and the heart feels heavy, God whispers His truth: you are loved, you are seen, You are known. These are not just words, they are the foundation upon which the unloved woman can rebuild her sense of worth and purpose. They are the truths that anchor her in the storm, the light that guides her through the darkness. And so, to the unloved woman, let this be a reminder: you are not forgotten by God. Your struggles are not meaningless. They are a part of a greater divine plan, one that is being worked out in ways you cannot yet see. Trust in the hands of the potter. Trust in the heart of the one who loves you beyond measure. For in his time he will reveal the beauty and purpose that have been hidden in the shadows of your pain. God's love is not like the fleeting love of the world. It doesn't hinge on performance, appearance, or the approval of others. It is constant, unwavering, and deeply transformative. For the unloved woman, who has endured feelings of rejection, loneliness, and unworthiness, God's love does more than comfort. It changes everything. It takes the weight of rejection and turns it into the foundation for understanding a greater truth: that her worth is not determined by human validation, but by divine design. Rejection is a painful experience, often leaving scars on the soul. It whispers lies that can shape how one views themselves. You are not enough, you don't belong, or you are unworthy of love. These lies, if left unchallenged, can take root and grow, distorting self-perception and fostering a life of quiet despair. But here's the beauty of God's love: it does not just reassure, it uproots these lies entirely. God's love replaces the voice of rejection with the voice of truth, a truth that speaks louder and more powerfully than any hurtful word or unkind action. The unloved woman often carries the weight of questions: why am I not enough? Why do others turn away? What is wrong with me? These questions can feel like chains, binding her to a narrative of inadequacy. Yet, when she encounters God's love, something remarkable happens. Those chains begin to break. God's love declares unequivocally: you are enough because I made you enough. You are precious because I formed you. You are loved because I chose you. These declarations are not mere sentiments, they are eternal truths, rooted in the very nature of God himself. God's love transforms rejection by revealing its purpose. Rejection is not the final word, it is often the doorway to redirection. When someone turns away, it is not because the unloved woman is inherently unworthy, but because God is guiding her to something or someone better aligned with his plan for her life. The story of Hagar, Abraham's servant, illustrates this beautifully. Rejected and sent away, she found herself alone in the wilderness, overwhelmed by fear and despair. But it was in that wilderness that God revealed himself to her as El Roi, the God who sees. Hagar's rejection became the stage for her profound encounter with God, an encounter that affirmed her value and reassured her of his ongoing presence. For the unloved woman, rejection can also serve as a mirror, reflecting areas where she has sought validation from others rather than from God. It is a painful realization, but a necessary one. Human relationships are a gift, but they were never meant to replace the relationship we have with our Creator. When we depend solely on others for our sense of worth, we place an impossible burden on them, and we set ourselves up for inevitable disappointment. God's love invites the unloved woman to shift her focus, to root her identity not in the approval of others, but in the unshakable truth of who she is in Him. This transformation is not theoretical, it is deeply practical and profoundly personal. Consider the way God's love changes the way the unloved woman sees herself. Where once she might have seen someone who is unwanted, she now sees someone who is chosen. Where once she might have felt invisible, she now knows she is fully seen and known by the Creator of the universe. This change in perspective is not just empowering, it is liberating. It frees her from the cycle of seeking approval and allows her to walk confidently in her God-given identity. God's love also transforms how she interacts with the world around her. Rejection, when viewed through the lens of divine love, becomes an opportunity for growth and empathy. Having experienced the sting of being overlooked, the unloved woman is uniquely equipped to extend compassion to others who feel unseen. Her pain becomes her ministry, her scars become her testimony, and her story becomes a beacon of hope for those who are walking a similar path. The transformation that God's love brings is not limited to the inner self, it extends to how she views her purpose in life. Feelings of rejection often lead to a sense of aimlessness or a belief that one's life lacks significance. But God's love speaks a different narrative. It declares that her life is not a random series of events, but a carefully orchestrated masterpiece designed with intention and purpose. The Bible is filled with stories of individuals who faced rejection yet went on to fulfill extraordinary purposes. Moses, who was cast out of Egypt, became the deliverer of Israel. Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, became a ruler in Egypt. Their stories remind us that rejection is not the end, it is often the beginning of something greater. For the unloved woman, understanding her purpose begins with understanding her Creator. God is love, and His love is inherently creative. It brings life, fosters growth, and transforms brokenness into beauty. When she embraces this love, she begins to see that her experiences, even the painful ones, are tools in the hands of a master artist. Every tear, every heartache, every moment of feeling unloved becomes a brushstroke in a larger, more beautiful painting. She is not a mistake or an afterthought, she is a masterpiece in progress. One of the most profound ways God's love transforms feelings of rejection is by teaching the unloved woman to love herself. This is not a selfish or superficial love, but a recognition of her value as a child of God. To love oneself in this way is to honor the Creator. It is to say, I am fearfully and wonderfully made, not because of anything I have done, but because of who God is. This self-love is not about pride, it is about alignment with God's truth. It is about rejecting the lies of rejection and embracing the reality of being deeply, irrevocably loved. But transformation does not happen overnight. It is a process, a journey that requires patience and faith. There will be moments of doubt, times when the lies of rejection resurface. In these moments, it is crucial to return to the source of truth, God's Word. The Bible is a treasure trove of reminders of His love and faithfulness. It is a mirror that reflects who we truly are, not who the world says we are. For the unloved woman, immersing herself in Scripture is like planting seeds of truth in the soil of her heart. Over time, these seeds grow into a garden of confidence, peace, and purpose. Prayer is another vital tool in this transformation. Through prayer, the unloved woman can pour out her heart to God, sharing her fears, her pain, and her longing for love. In prayer, she not only speaks but also listens, allowing God to whisper His truths into the deepest recesses of her soul. Prayer is not just a conversation, it is a lifeline, a direct connection to the one who loves her most. Community also plays a significant role in this journey. While God's love is sufficient, He often works through people to show His love in tangible ways. For the unloved woman, finding a community of believers who reflect God's love can be profoundly healing. These relationships, grounded in faith, offer a glimpse of the unconditional love that God has for her. Ultimately, the transformation that God's love brings is a testament to His glory. It is a reminder that He specializes in turning ashes into beauty, in taking what the world discards and making it new. The unloved woman, through her journey of rejection and redemption, becomes a living example of God's ability to transform pain into purpose and brokenness into brilliance. So, to the woman who feels unloved, know this: God's love is not just an abstract concept, it is a transformative force. It has the power to change how you see yourself, how you view your past, and how you approach your future. It takes the sting of rejection and turns it into the sweetness of understanding your worth and purpose. You are not defined by who has walked away, you are defined by the one who has never left. You are loved, not because of what you do, but because of who you are, a beloved child of God, created with intention, chosen with care, and cherished beyond measure. Embracing God's love is not simply about finding solace or healing, it is about transformation. For the woman who has felt unloved, accepting the depth and constancy of God's love is the first step in becoming something much greater, a vessel of His grace, hope, and healing. The journey from pain to purpose is one of redemption, where the wounds of rejection are not just healed, but become sources of light for others walking similar paths. This transformation does not diminish her struggles, but redefines them in the context of divine love, giving her the ability to channel her experiences into a living testimony of God's faithfulness. When a woman begins to fully embrace God's love, something profound shifts in her soul. No longer defined by the rejection or indifference of others, she steps into the identity God has given her. She recognizes that her value is not contingent on human approval, but is inherent, woven into her being by the Creator Himself. This realization liberates her from the chains of self-doubt and inadequacy, empowering her to live with a confidence that reflects God's grace. But this newfound strength is not merely for her benefit, it becomes the foundation upon which she can pour out love, compassion, and hope to others. To become a vessel of grace, the unloved woman must first understand grace itself. Grace is unearned, unconditional, and freely given. It is the love of God in action, reaching out to us in our brokenness and lifting us to places we could never reach on our own. When she embraces this grace, she becomes acutely aware that it is not just for her. Grace, by its very nature, overflows. It cannot be contained or hoarded, it demands to be shared. And so her journey of healing becomes a ministry of grace to those around her. The unloved woman, now transformed by God's love, becomes uniquely equipped to extend grace to others. Her own experiences of rejection and healing give her a profound empathy for those who are struggling. She knows the pain of feeling unseen, the ache of wondering if she matters. This understanding allows her to meet others where they are, offering the same grace she has received. Her presence becomes a reminder that God sees, knows, and cares for each of his children, even in their darkest moments. But grace is not only about comforting others, it is also about challenging them to grow. The woman who has embraced God's love understands that true healing requires both tenderness and truth. She becomes a voice that encourages others to rise above their circumstances, to see themselves as God sees them, valuable, capable, and loved. Her words, infused with grace, inspire others to let go of the lies that have held them back and to step into the fullness of their God-given potential. Hope is another gift the unloved woman carries as a vessel of God's love. Hope is not a naive optimism that ignores the realities of life's difficulties. It is a confident expectation that God is working, even when we cannot see it. The woman who has walked through the valley of rejection and emerged on the other side knows this truth intimately. She has seen God's hand at work in her life, transforming her pain into purpose. This hope becomes a beacon for others, a light that shines in the darkness and points them toward the one who never fails. Hope is contagious. When the unloved woman shares her story of redemption, she ignites a spark in those who hear it. Her testimony becomes a powerful reminder that no situation is beyond God's ability to redeem. Whether she shares her story in quiet conversations or through broader platforms, her life becomes a testament to the power of God's love to bring beauty from ashes. Her words, filled with hope, encourage others to trust in God's timing and to hold on, even when the road ahead seems uncertain. As a vessel of healing, the unloved woman becomes a reflection of God's restorative power. Healing is not just about physical or emotional well-being, it is about wholeness, being fully restored to the person God created us to be. The unloved woman, having experienced this restoration in her own life, becomes an instrument through which God brings healing to others. Her scars, once symbols of pain, become reminders of God's ability to mend the broken-hearted. Healing often begins with listening. The woman who has been transformed by God's love understands the importance of being present for others. She listens not just with her ears, but with her heart, creating a safe space for others to share their struggles. In her presence, they feel seen and valued, and this alone begins to bring healing. Her compassion, rooted in her own experiences of rejection, becomes a balm for wounded souls. But healing is not only about empathy, it is also about pointing others to the source of true healing, God himself. The unloved woman does not take credit for her transformation, she directs others to the one who has transformed her. She becomes a living invitation for others to experience the same love, grace, and hope that have changed her life. Through her words and actions, she leads others to the foot of the cross, where healing and wholeness are found. The process of becoming a vessel of God's love is not without challenges. There will be moments of doubt, times when the wounds of the past resurface. But these moments are opportunities to lean deeper into God's grace. They remind the unloved woman that her strength does not come from herself, but from the one who sustains her. Each challenge becomes a stepping stone, drawing her closer to God and refining her ability to reflect his love. The woman who embraces God's love also learns the importance of forgiveness. Forgiveness is not about condoning the actions of those who have hurt her, it is about releasing the hold their actions have on her heart. When she forgives, she sets herself free from the bitterness and resentment that can hinder her ability to be a vessel of grace. Forgiveness is a powerful act of faith, a declaration that she trusts God to bring justice and restoration in his time. In her journey of transformation, the unloved woman discovers that she is not alone. She is part of a larger story, one that includes countless others who have experienced God's love and been changed by it. Together, they form a community of grace, hope, and healing, a testament to the power of God's love to redeem and restore. This community becomes a source of strength and encouragement, reminding her that she is never alone in her mission to reflect God's love to the world. Ultimately, the unloved woman's transformation is not just about her, it is about God's glory. Her life becomes a living testimony of His ability to take what the world discards and make it beautiful. She becomes a reflection of His grace, a carrier of His hope, and a conduit of His healing. Through her, others see the heart of God, a heart that loves unconditionally, heals completely, and redeems endlessly. To the woman who feels unloved, know this: God's love is not just for you, it is meant to flow through you. As you embrace His love, you become a vessel of His grace, hope, and healing, a beacon of light in a world that desperately needs it. Your story, your scars, and your journey are all part of a greater purpose. You are not just loved, you are called. You are not just seen, you are chosen. And through you, God's love will reach others, bringing transformation, redemption, and restoration in ways you cannot yet imagine.